The rain-slicked streets of Chicago's Wicker Park neighborhood pulsed with the raw energy of a Friday night protest, chants rising like thunder against the indifferent sky. Alex Rivera, drenched and defiant, locked eyes with the burly cop advancing through the crowd, his badge glinting like a threat under the streetlights. "Back off, drama queen," the officer snarled, shoving Alex against a chain-link fence, but as his hand dipped into Alex's jacket pocket for ID, fingers closed around a folded paper that made the world tilt. The court order naming him, Officer Jake Harlan, as the defendant in a landmark discrimination suit that could end his career before dawn. Alex's heart hammered as the cop's face drained of color, the paper trembling in his grip like a live wire. Jake Harlan had seen his share of street brawls and bar fights in his 12 years on the force, but nothing prepared him for this. A federal injunction, stamped and sealed, barring him from any contact with Alex Rivera pending a hearing on excessive force and hate-motivated assault. The crowd's roar faded to a distant hum as Jake's mind raced. How had this skinny activist, with his sharp jaw and fiercer gaze, become the epicenter of his unraveling life? He released the paper like it burned, stepping back into the downpour, but Alex's voice cut through, steady and unyielding. "You can't run from this, officer. Not anymore." Jake shoved the order back into Alex's pocket, his gloved hand lingering a fraction too long, as if the touch could anchor him against the vertigo. Around them, protesters surged, signs bobbing like buoys in a storm. Love wins, hate loses, and no justice, no peace. Alex, a 32-year-old community organizer who'd clawed his way from a closeted childhood in rural Indiana to the front lines of Chicago's LGBTQ+ advocacy, felt the familiar coil of adrenaline tighten in his chest. This wasn't just another rally against police brutality. It was personal now, the culmination of months shadowing Jake's patrols, documenting slurs and shoves that targeted queer kids in the shadows of Boys Town. But as Jake's blue eyes met his, stormy, conflicted, Alex glimpsed something beyond the uniform. A crack in the armor, a flicker of doubt that mirrored his own buried fears. Harlan, a sergeant's bark sliced the tension, pulling Jake away like a riptide. He vanished into the line of riot gear, leaving Alex breathless against the fence, the court order a talisman against his skin. That night, in his cramped Logan Square apartment, Alex paced the worn hardwood, replaying the moment. The paper wasn't just legal firepower, it was his lifeline, procured after Jake's last outburst at a youth center event, calling Alex a fairy tale dreamer in front of terrified teens seeking refuge. Alex had sued not for revenge, but survival, knowing one more unchecked bully could shatter lives like his own once had. His phone buzzed, a text from his best friend, Miah, a trans woman and fellow activist whose voice always grounded him. "You okay?" Heard the cops scattered like roaches. He typed back, fingers flying. "Better than okay." He saw it. Froze like a deer in headlights. Across town, in a sterile precinct locker room reeking of sweat and stale coffee, Jake stripped off his soaked uniform, the court order's words searing his brain. Defendant's actions constitute a pattern of bias-motivated harassment. He crumpled a towel in his fist, slamming it against the lockers. At 35, with a buzz cut fading to silver at the temples and a build honed by endless gym hours, Jake Harlan was the epitome of Midwestern machismo, raised in a Joliet steel town where tough love meant fists over feelings. His marriage had crumbled 2 years back, his ex citing his emotional constipation, but Jake buried that under overtime shifts and six-packs. Gays. They were the punchline in locker room jokes, the other he enforced against to prove his place. Yet tonight, Alex's unflinching stare haunted him, stirring an unease he couldn't name, a whisper that maybe the drama queen was the one with the real spine. By morning, the city awoke to headlines. LGBTQ rally clashes with CPD, federal order targets veteran officer. Alex's phone exploded with notifications, his nonprofit's inbox flooded with support from allies nationwide. He met Miah at their usual haunt, a queer-owned cafe on North Avenue, where rainbow flags fluttered like defiant prayers. Miah, with her cropped purple hair and tattooed arms baring, hers, slid him a latte. "Spill. That cop, did he swing?" Alex shook his head, recounting the freeze, the lingering touch. It's bigger than him, me. This could force the department to train on bias, protect kids like we were. Mia's eyes softened. She'd lost her brother to a hate crime a decade ago, fueling her fire. But watch your back. Harlan's type doesn't fold easy. Jake, nursing a hangover in his Oak Park bungalow, stared at the summons taped to his fridge, a hearing in 2 weeks. His partner, Ruiz, clapped his shoulder at roll call. Rough night, hermano? That queer lawyer's got you spooked. Jake forced a laugh, but it rang hollow. Spooked? Try gut punched. He volunteered for a foot patrol in Wicker Park that afternoon, half hoping, half dreading to cross paths with Alex again. The neighborhood thrummed with life. Murals of Stonewall heroes splashed across brick walls, couples hand in hand under iron archways. Spotting a familiar figure at a crosswalk, Alex, arguing animatedly with a vendor over fair wages, Jake's pulse spiked. He approached, hands raised in mock surrender. Rivera, we need to talk. Off the record. Alex tensed, the vendor's chatter fading. Talk. Like how you talked last night. But curiosity won. He nodded toward a nearby park bench, etched with lovers' initials. They sat at opposite ends, the space between them crackling. Jake pulled out a thermos of coffee, black, no sugar, and offered it awkwardly. Look, I get it. You're fighting the good fight. But that paper, it's my job on the line. My kid, ex has full custody, thinks I'm a hero. What am I supposed to tell her? Alex's guard cracked at the vulnerability, the mention of a daughter humanizing the brute. Your job? Or your pride? You call me a drama queen for standing up for kids who hide who they are because of cops like you. Jake winced, rubbing his neck. I say stupid shit. Heat of the moment. Grew up hearing it, didn't question. The admission hung, a bridge forming in the chasm. As dusk fell, their words flowed freer. Alex sharing his coming-out nightmare. Disowned at 18, scraping by on scholarships to build a life in the city. Jake confessing the divorce's toll, how bottling emotions left him hollow. A tentative truce emerged. Jake promising to review body cam footage from past incidents. Alex agreeing to a mediated meet with department brass. Walking away, Alex felt a spark, dangerous and electric. Jake, glancing back, wondered if the freeze had thawed something deeper. Days blurred into a tense standoff, the court order a shadow over Jake's every shift. He pored over footage in the precinct's dim AV room, screens flickering with grainy confrontations. His own voice barking slurs at a drag queen soliciting outside a club, a shove sending a non-binary teen sprawling during a noise complaint. Each clip was a mirror, reflecting not the protector he'd imagined, but a cog in the machine grinding down the vulnerable. Ruiz caught him at it one evening, eyebrow arched. Self-flagellation, Harlan? Department's got lawyers for that. Jake grunted. Better me than them spinning it. Truth was, the review was his olive branch to Alex, a way to prove he wasn't irredeemable. Alex, meanwhile, navigated his own minefield. His ex, Theo, a sculptor with a wandering eye, had resurfaced, texting apologies laced with nostalgia. Miss us, babe. That cop drama's got you twisted. Alex deleted the thread, but doubt crept in during quiet nights, when the apartment's silence amplified his loneliness. Miah dragged him to a support group at the center on Halstead, where stories echoed his. Rejected families, internalized shame blooming into activism. There, he met Lena, a soft-spoken lesbian attorney whose calm dissected legal knots like butter. Your suit against Harlan? Bold. But win or lose, it's precedent. Their chats stretched late, Lena's insights sharpening Alex's resolve, though her gentle flirtations stirred guilt. His heart, bruised by Theo, wasn't ready. The mediated meeting convened in a sterile loop conference room, fluorescent lights buzzing like accusations. Jake arrived early, tie askew, clutching a USB drive of edited clips. Alex entered with Lena at his side, her briefcase a shield. The mediator, a no-nonsense mediator named Patel, laid ground rules. No interruptions, facts only. But facts fractured fast. Jake slid the drive across, watched it all. My words. Inexcusable. Suspended myself, pending review. Alex's eyes narrowed, searching for sincerity. Actions, not words. Those kids need guarantees, not gestures. Tension peaked when Patel referenced the order's clause on ongoing harassment, prompting Jake to blurt, I ain't harassing. He trailed off, the room thick with unspoken histories. Post-meeting, rain lashed the windows as Alex and Jake collided in the lobby. Fate or avoidance failure. Coffee. Jake ventured, nodding to a cart vendor. Alex hesitated, then nodded. Over steaming cups in Grant Park's shadow, barriers crumbled further. Jake spoke of his daughter, Ellie, 8 and obsessed with superheroes. How patrol stories painted him invincible, hiding the cop who flinched at sirens echoing his father's mill accidents. Alex countered with his sister's letters from Indiana, pleading for reconciliation, her fear of city sins a knife twist. Family's the hardest prejudice, Alex murmured. Jake's hand brushed his on the bench, accidental, electric, pulling back like scorched. Sorry. Force of habit. X hated that. The slip unveiled Jake's bisexuality, long suppressed under straight-laced badges and bar bravado. That revelation ricocheted through Alex's week, a secret confided in Miah over whiskey at a dive in Andersonville. Bi-curious cop with a kid? Plot twist. Miah laughed, but her eyes probed. And you? Feelings or fallout? Alex evaded, but sleep evaded him too, dreams weaving Jake's rough hands with tender what-ifs. Lena sensed the shift during strategy sessions. Her invitations to gallery openings met with polite declines. Something's distracting you, she pressed gently. Alex confessed fragments, earning her nod. Prejudice cuts both ways. But love? That's the real revolution. Jake's world tilted similarly. At Ellie's soccer game in a suburban field, he cheered louder to drown doubts. But her question, "Daddy, why do you look sad?" unraveled him. Home alone, he scrolled Alex's nonprofit site, photos of rallies capturing that fierce smile, stirring at ache he'd labeled respect, but knew as more. Ruiz cornered him at the gym. "You're off, man. That activist under your skin." Jake denied, but punched the bag harder, bruises blooming like unspoken truths. The twist came midweek, an anonymous tip to Alex's hotline. A queer youth beaten in an alley off Belmont, the assailant's description matching Jake's build. Heart sinking, Alex raced to the hospital, finding the kid, Jordan, 17 and bruised, whispering. "He said I was asking for it." Fury blinded Alex. He stormed the precinct, demanding Jake's badge. But interrogation revealed the attacker, Jake's own partner, Ruiz, covering a personal vendetta. Jake, arriving mid-confrontation, overheard and exploded. "That son of a... I trusted him." The betrayal gutted him, Ruiz's arrest a domino toppling alliances. In the aftermath, Alex found Jake on a rain-lashed bridge over the Chicago River, uniform discarded, staring at the churning waters. "Why protect me?" Alex asked, joining him at the rail. Jake's voice cracked. "Because you're right. And maybe, because seeing you fight makes me want to be better." Their hands met deliberately this time, fingers interlacing against the storm. A promise forged in vulnerability, the court order now a catalyst, not a curse. As autumn leaves bled crimson across Chicago's parks, the fragile accord between Alex and Jake deepened into stolen moments amid the chaos. They met in neutral territories, a quiet art house cinema in Ukrainian village screening indie films on identity, or late-night walks along the lakefront where Lake Michigan's waves whispered secrets. Jake shared war stories from the force, not the glory, but the grit, pulling overdosed drag performers from club bathrooms, turning a blind eye to vice squad raids that preyed on the desperate. "I was part of it," he admitted one foggy evening, breath visible in the chill. "Enforced the lines society drew, never crossed them myself." Alex listened, his own scars surfacing. The high school locker room taunts that sent him spiraling into silence. The college hookup gone wrong that taught him trust's razor edge. Mia's radar pinged early. At a potluck fundraiser in a Pilsen warehouse, rainbow banners draping exposed beams, she pulled Alex aside amid clinking glasses and laughter. "That cop's got you glowing, but glowing's dangerous. What's the endgame?" Alex shrugged, plating vegan empanadas. "No endgame. Just understanding." But understanding bloomed into affection. Jake's texts evolving from case updates. Ruiz lawyered up, hearings a circus, to personal nudges. Ellie's drawing capes for caped crusaders. "You and her hero list." Alex's replies carried warmth, attachments of protest sketches, his artist's soul peeking through the organizer's armor. Lena, ever perceptive, withdrew gracefully after Alex's full confession over dim sum in Chinatown. He's a risk, but risks build bridges, she said, clinking teacups. Her blessing freed Alex to lean in, though doubts nipped. Jake's world of blue walls and brotherhood clashed with Alex's tapestry of fluid identities and fierce loyalties. The court hearing loomed like a guillotine, set for a federal courthouse in the Loop, where marble halls echoed with precedents yet to be carved. The night before, Jake invited Alex to his bungalow for dinner. A first, stakes high. Ellie was with her mom, leaving the space echoing. Faded photos of family barbecues, a worn Bible on the shelf hinting at Jake's lapsed Catholic roots. He grilled steaks on the back patio, the sizzle masking nerves. Not much of a cook, he joked, plating with salad Alex had insisted on. Over candlelight flickering against brick, conversation turned confessional. Jake revealed his bisexuality's origin. A summer fling at 19 with a ranch hand in Wyoming, buried under Army recruiters' calls and cop academy drills. Thought it was a phase. Then life happened. Alex shared Theo's betrayal, the artist's affairs with gallery patrons, leaving Alex questioning his worth. Love shouldn't feel like litigation. Their first kiss happened there, tentative under the stars. Jake's calloused palm cupping Alex's cheek, lips meeting soft as a question. It deepened, hands exploring with reverence, pulling back only when emotion overwhelmed. "This scares me," Jake whispered. Alex nodded, foreheads touching. "Me too, but we're already in the storm." The hearing dawned gray, security lines snaking through metal detectors. Alex testified first, voice steady as he cataloged incidents. Jake's slurs at rallies, the shove that bruised ribs, the pattern endangering youth. Officer Harlan's actions weren't isolated. They're systemic, rooted in unchecked bias. Jake followed, uniform starched, but eyes shadowed. "I own my words, my failures. But I've changed, self-review, community outreach." Suspending myself was step one. Questions flew, Patel probing motives, prosecutors dissecting intent. A surprise witness emerged, Jordan, the assaulted teen, vouching for Jake's quiet aid post-arrest, the cop who'd sat vigil in the ER, fetching water and calling parents. The bench recessed, tension coiling like springs. Outside, protesters gathered, signs a mosaic of solidarity. Alex and Jake stole a bench in the plaza, hands brushing unseen. "Whatever the ruling," Alex said, "we fight on." Jake squeezed his fingers. Together? The verdict dropped like a gavel's echo. Injunction upheld. But with probation, Jake mandated to sensitivity training, community service at Alex's center. Relief washed over them, but triumph soured when headlines twisted it. Cop dodges bullet in gay activist suit. Sweetheart, deal? Online trolls swarmed, death threats pinging Alex's inbox, while Jake fielded precinct whispers of gone soft. That night, seeking solace, they drove to a secluded dune on Indiana dunes, waves crashing as barriers fully dissolved. Clothes shed layers of pretense, bodies entwining in the sand with urgent tenderness. No rush, just presence. Whispers of "I see you" and "stay" wove through the rhythm, acclaiming beyond words. But peace fractured swiftly. Miah called at dawn. "Theo's back, stirring shit. Says he has proof you're colluding with the enemy." Alex's blood chilled. Theo's proof, stolen emails from their shared past, twisted to paint Alex as opportunistic. The leak hit social media, fracturing alliances. Donors pulled funding, group members questioned loyalties. Jake, shielding Alex, confronted precinct brass, demanding protection, but his captain's sneer, "Personal entanglements complicate duty," stung like betrayal. In the eye of the brewing scandal, Alex uncovered the twist. Theo wasn't acting alone. He'd allied with a conservative watchdog group, funneling smears to undermine the suit's gains. Rage fueled Alex's counterstrike. A press conference at the center, Ellie unexpectedly attending with Jake, her small hand in his as he spoke. "My dad's a hero. He helps people now." The image went viral, humanizing the narrative, but the cost mounted. Jake's custody battle reignited, X citing his lifestyle shift as unstable. As winter's bite set in, their bond tested like steel and fire. Love's forge revealing strengths and fractures. Prejudices not just external, but etched in souls, demanding surrender to heal. Winter clamped Chicago in icy jaws, snow drifts muffling the city's roar, but the storm around Alex and Jake raged unchecked. The press conference's glow faded fast. Theo's leaks morphed into a full smear campaign. Anonymous blogs dubbing Alex the cop lover sellout. Cartoons caricaturing Jake as a rainbow badge. Alex's center buzzed with tension, volunteers splitting into camps, some embracing the progressive policing angle, others decrying it as capitulation. Miah, ever the mediator, hosted a tense all-hands in the basement lounge, fairy lights casting long shadows. "We're not defined by one relationship," she urged, but murmurs lingered, eyes flicking to Alex like judgments. Jake bore his crosses in silence at first, shifts doubling as he volunteered for holiday patrols in underserved neighborhoods, handing out gloves and hot chocolate to homeless queer youth. Ellie sensed the strain, her bedtime stories now laced with questions. Is Uncle Alex bad because he's like you? Jake's heart fractured. He scooped her up, whispering, "He's good. We're all just trying." But custody papers arrived via certified mail, his ex, Karen, demanding supervised visits, citing moral instability. The accusation clawed deep. Jake, who'd prided himself on stoic provision, now villainized for loving beyond lines. Alex, drowning in fallout, sought refuge in Lena's office, stacks of case files a paper fortress. "Sue for defamation," she advised, but Alex shook his head. "That feeds the beast. We need truth, not more courts." Their strategy crystallized. A documentary short, raw testimonies from those Jake had quietly helped. Jordan directing a youth theater group funded by anonymous cop donations. A trans elder recounting Jake's aid during a shelter eviction. Filming commenced in stolen hours, Alex behind the lens. Jake's vulnerability captured in close-ups. Laugh lines crinkling as he bantered with kids, eyes softening in Alex's direction. Intimacy became their anchor amid the gale. Curled in Alex's apartment, radiator clanking like a heartbeat, they traced scars, literal and not. Jake's forearm bore a faded tattoo from his army days, Semper Fi, inked over a lover's initials long erased. "Regret's a ghost," he murmured, as Alex's fingers mapped the ink. Alex shared his own. A faint line on his temple from a bar fight post coming out. Theo's indifference the deeper wound. Their nights wove tenderness with talk, bodies a language of affirmation, slow and sacred, breaths sinking like tides. "You're my turning point," Jake confessed once, post-climax glow painting his cheeks. Alex smiled, tracing jawlines. "And you're mine." The twist uncoiled at a holiday gala for the center, twinkling lights in a converted theater on Broadway. Donors mingled with activists, jazz floating like snowflakes. Theo crashed the event, champagne flute in hand, cornering Alex by the coat check. "Missed your fire, Alex. This cop charade, it's killing your edge." Before Alex could retort, Jake materialized, arms slipping protectively around Alex's waist. A public claim, bold in the crowd. Gasps rippled. Miah swooped in, escorting Theo out amid flashes from opportunistic phones. The video exploded online, hashtags fracturing, cop-out or love revolution. Repercussions cascaded. Jake's captain summoned him at dawn, office reeking of burnt coffee. "Fraternizing with the plaintiff? You're off the street, desk duty till IA clears." Jake's fists clenched, but he nodded, storming out to find solace in a call to Alex. "Lost my patrol. But you? Worth it." Alex, fielding donor calls, uncovered the leak's source. Theo's patron, a mayoral aide with ties to anti-LGBTQ lobbies, pulling strings for political gain. "It's bigger than us," Alex told Lena, piecing affidavits. Election year's a witch hunt. Ellie's Christmas pageant became ground zero for Jake's unraveling. Seated in the school gym, bleachers creaking under parents, he watched her as a shepherd, halo askew, beaming. Karen approached intermission, eyes cold. "This phase of yours?" Ellie's asking questions. Jake's voice steadied. "It's not a phase. It's me. And Alex makes me better for her." The exchange escalated, voices rising, until a teacher intervened. That night, alone with Ellie baking gingerbread, tears pricked as she piped. "Daddy, can Alex come next time?" He hugged her fierce, whispering yes, the innocence of balm. Mia's intervention came via a surprise road trip, packing Alex into her beat-up Subaru for a weekend at a cabin in Door County, Wisconsin, pines heavy with frost. Detox, she declared, no phones. Over bonfires crackling against the lake's edge, she unpacked her own baggage. Brother's death, not just grief, but survivor's guilt for not intervening sooner. We armor up, but loves the chink. Alex absorbed it, journaling by lantern light. Pages filling with fears of losing Jake to the force's pull or himself to bitterness. Returning renewed, he confronted the center's divide head-on. A town hall where tears and testimonies bridged rifts, reaffirming mission over mess. The climax brewed as the documentary dropped on New Year's Eve, streaming live from the center's rooftop, fireworks bursting over the skyline. Viewers tuned in nationwide. Jordan's monologue on healing, Jake's raw apology edited with Alex's vision of unity. Ratings soared, but so did threats. A brick through the center's window, etched with traitor. Jake, defying desk orders, patrolled incognito, finding Alex shattered glass in hand. Can't let them win, Jake growled, pulling him close. In that embrace, amid sirens wailing, they vowed resilience. Love not a weakness, but the weapon against winter's darkest nights. Spring thawed Chicago's veins, cherry blossoms unfurling along the Mag Mile like tentative flags of truce, but the war for Alex and Jake's world waged fiercer. The documentary's ripple effects were a double-edged sword. Funding surged from progressive donors, a PBS slot secured, yet backlash brewed in editorial pages and precinct break rooms. Jake's IA probe dragged, colleagues icing him with averted eyes and "sir" laced with sarcasm. Desk jockey now, Ruiz's old cronies sneered, but Jake channeled it into advocacy. Guest speaking at the center's workshops, his gravel voice dismantling myths. Bias isn't a badge, it's a blindfold. Alex's personal front lines shifted inward. Theo's final gambit arrived via courier, a manila envelope of their old love letters, annotated with barbs. See? You always chase drama. Rage morphed to pity. Alex burned them in a backyard fire pit, ashes scattering like exorcised ghosts. Lena, now a steadfast ally, fast-tracked a countersuit against the aide, uncovering emails tying smears to City Hall slush funds. Watergate light. She quipped over takeout foe, but the win felt hollow. Victory in courts couldn't mend fractured trusts. Ellie's integration proved the tenderest battle. Jake orchestrated a picnic in Jackson Park, blankets spread under blooming dogwoods, Alex arriving with kites painted in pride colors. Ellie, pigtails flying, chased strings with giggles, her initial shyness melting into Uncle Alex, push me higher. Karen observed from afar, arms crossed, but softened when Ellie tugged her into a group hug. Later, over juice boxes, she cornered Jake. For her sake, make it work. But hurt him, and you're out. The conditional blessing hung, a fragile thread in the tapestry. Mia's orbit tightened too, her budding romance with a poet named Riley, a non-binary wordsmith with ink-stained fingers, mirroring Alex's journey. Group dates at queer poetry slams in Wicker Park became ritual. Verses of longing recited under exposed rafters, laughter cutting tension. One night, Riley's piece on queer kinships forged in fire struck Jake deep. He pulled Alex aside post-reading, murmuring, "That's us. Family, not just us two." The words sealed a milestone. Jake inscribing Alex's keychain with a tiny rainbow rivet, a promise pocketed like the court order once was. But twists lurked in shadows. An informant, a rookie cop with a conscience, tipped Jake to an internal plot, veterans plotting to frame him for evidence tampering, payback for Ruiz's fall. Evidence mounted, planted files in his locker, whispers to IA. Jake confided in Alex during a midnight stakeout at the Adler Planetarium, stars wheeling overhead as they huddled in his unmarked car. "They're circling, but I won't run." Alex's hand on his knee steadied. "Then we expose it. Together." Their plan hatched. Wire a meet. Record the confessions. Risky as wire walking without nets. Execution night pulsed with peril. Jake entered the backroom poker game in a Bridgeport dive, smoke curling like suspicions, cards slapping tables. Bait dropped, feigned desperation over his soft turn. Bites came swift, taunts escalating to specifics. We'll bury you with that queer. Recorder's word hidden. Alex monitored from a van blocks away, heart in throat. Miah at his side, cracking knuckles. Extraction went south. A scuffle, fists flying. Jake's nose bloodied before backup. Loyalists like the rookie swarmed. Hospital lights glared sterile as Alex paced ER tiles, Miah fetching bad coffee. Jake emerged bandaged, grin crooked. Got him. Tapes are gold. But vulnerability cracked open. Almost lost it all. Alex's kiss was fierce, ignoring nurses' coughs, a public vow in private pain. The scandal broke dawn, arrests rippling through ranks, mayor's office scrambling. Jake's name cleared, but scars lingered, trust in blue fractured, rebuilding from ashes. Season's pivot brought renewal. The center's annual Pride kickoff morphed into a unity march, Jake marching beside Alex, Ellie's small sign. Heroes come in all colors, held high. Lena's suit landed blows, the aide resigning in disgrace. Theo faded into irrelevance, last seen posting vapid selfies from LA. Intimacy evolved too. Lazy Sundays in bed, Jake's head on Alex's chest, tracing tattoos while debating futures, adoption dreams, cabin getaways. Yet depth demanded reckoning. Therapy sessions, mandated for Jake's reinstatement, unearthed roots. Father's belt for unmanly tears, mother's silence a complicit shroud. Alex joined tandem, unpacking abandonment's echo. We're unlearning together, he told Miah over brunches at, and Sather's cinnamon rolls. Her nod, Riley's hand in hers, affirmed, growth's a circle, not a line. Climax crested at the federal appeals hearing, a rematch on the original suit. Testimonies layered like sediments, survivors' scars, Jake's redemption arc, Alex's unyielding vision. The bench's gavel fell favorable, expanded reforms, department-wide mandates. Jubilation erupted outside, confetti raining as Alex and Jake embraced, Ellie's cheers piercing the din. In that throng, love stood unbowed. Prejudices toppled, not by force, but by hearts daring to connect. Summer's humidity draped Chicago in a sultry haze, lake breezes offering scant relief, but for Alex and Jake, the season heralded harvest, fruits of battles won, though thorns remained. The reforms took root tentatively, training academies buzzing with modules on implicit bias, Jake co-facilitating sessions, his once gruff delivery softened by stories. I was the problem, he'd say, eyes meeting Alex's in the back row. But problems have solutions. Recruits nodded, some skeptical, others enlightened. Change crept, inching like ivy over concrete. Alex's center thrived anew, grants flowing for expanded programs. Art therapy for queer elders, mentorship pods pairing youth with allies like Jake. Ellie enrolled in a summer camp there, her backpack emblazoned with center stickers, emerging each day with tales of cool art projects with Uncle Alex. Family dinners became staple, Karen thawing over barbecues in Jake's yard, her laughter tentative but real as she quizzed Alex on advocacy wins. You two, balance each other, she conceded one twilight, fireflies winking approval. Mia's union with Riley blossomed publicly, a commitment ceremony in a lakeside pavilion, vows exchanged under arches of wildflowers, Alex officiating with teary pride. In a world that divides, you multiply, he intoned, Jake's hand warm in his. Post-vows, toasts flowed, Lena's wry legal puns, Jordan's poem on found family. Jake pulled Alex onto the dance floor later, slow sway to jazz standards, whispering, marry me? Not today, but someday. Alex's yes was a breath, sealing futures unspoken. Yet undercurrents stirred. A new threat emerged. National winds shifting conservative, a proposed bill in Springfield gutting LGBTQ protections, echoing the smears Theo once peddled. Alex mobilized, caravans of buses ferrying activists to the Capitol, Jake securing off-duty details for safety. En route, in a diner off I-55, tensions simmered, protesters debating tactics, one grizzled veteran eyeing Jake's ring. Cop in our ranks? Bold or betrayal? Alex defended fierce. He's earned it. We're all flawed. The lobby day climaxed in hearing rooms thick with suits and stares. Alex testified, voice resonant. Discrimination isn't history, it's homework unfinished. Strip protections, and lives unravel. Jake, in civvies, lobbied back halls, his badge a bridge to reluctant lawmakers, seen the cost up close. Don't make orphans of progress. Twists unfolded, a defector vote swayed by Jordan's viral op-ed, pinned with Jake's edits. Victory snatched narrow, bill stalled, but exhaustion lingered like humidity. Homefront healed in layers. Jake's therapy unearthed a buried letter from his father, pre-death apology for hard lessons, read aloud to Alex by candlelight. Tears fell, forgiveness a quiet revolution. Alex reciprocated, video calling his sister, bridge mending over pixels. Come visit. See the man who saved me. Her arrival, tentative hugs in O'Hare, marked homecoming, prejudices familial, felled by time. Intimacy deepened roots. Weekends at Michigan's dunes, sandcastles built with Ellie, nights under stars where bodies and souls merged seamless. You're my horizon, Jake murmured once, post-love's languor, Alex's head pillowed on his chest. Echoes of the court order's freeze felt mythic now, a pivot from peril to paradise. The ultimate turn wheeled in autumn's amber. Ellie's school project on family heroes, poster board collage starring Alex's rally photos, Jake's patrol tales, Miah's activism icons. Presentation night, gymnasium packed, her voice piped clear, my dad's teach love beats hate. Gasps, then applause, Karen's proud tears, Alex's hand squeezing Jake's. In that moment, legacies intertwined, a lineage of resilience. Years later, reflecting from a porch swing in a hybrid home, Logan Square brownstone with a yard for Ellie's swings, their story etched in scars and stars. Prejudices toppled not in grand gestures alone, but daily devotions. Mia's gallery openings, Lena's landmark cases, Jordan's off-Broadway debut. Love, that audacious force, proved the greatest drama. Queens and kings, crowned in courage, forever entwined.